Famed archaeologist James Henry Breasted once commented that monotheism is the imperialism of religion. He was absolutely right.
You do realize that James Henry Breasted wrote a book being very critical of the Ten Commandments and the Christian claim to morality, and that Wikipedia lists him as an agnostic. I don't think he was paying you a compliment. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers, BionicDance here, and I've dealt with this Christian Talour kid before, but I was not aware until recently just how much of a monster he truly is. And the worst part, I'm not sure he's even aware of it. Have a look.
Though imperialism today is often regarded as racist or culturally intolerant, Christians desperately need to see its image revitalized.
Are you trying to tell me that Christianity isn't culturally intolerant? Pull the other one. And do you even know what imperialism is? Allow me to read to you from Wikipedia. Imperialism, as it is defined by the Oxford Dictionaries, is a policy of extending a country's power and influence through colonization, use of military force, or other means. Louis Samuel Fuhr, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, identifies two major subtypes of imperialism. The first is the regressive imperialism, identified with pure conquest, unequivocal exploitation, extermination or reductions of undesired peoples, and settlement of desired peoples into those territories. The second type, identified by, I cannot pronounce that, is progressive imperialism that is founded upon a cosmopolitan view of humanity that promotes the spread of civilization to allegedly backward societies to elevate living standards and culture in conquered territories, and allowance of a conquered people to assimilate into the imperial society, an example being the British Empire, which claimed to give their quote-unquote citizens a number of advantages. No matter how you look at it, imperialism is taking people over whether they want it or not, and often because you think they're uncultured savages. Now, even if that doesn't make you the bad guy, it at least makes you an arrogant asshole. And now you want to see Christians take back imperialism to revitalize its image? When did it have a good one? J.A. Hobson identifies his justification for imperialism by saying, "It is desirable that the earth should be peopled, governed, and developed as far as possible by the races which can do this work best, i.e. by the races of highest social efficiency." Again, arrogant asshole. Now compare this to most atheists, especially modern atheists. We might try to persuade you that you're wrong with logic, reason, and evidence, but the only time you'll ever see force from an atheist in the name of atheism is in self-defense against you conquering lot.
Just as Victorian culture called for Americans to take up the white man's burden and save the aboriginal populations from their own barbaric cultures, so Christianity calls for Christ's disciples to spread the good news and tell pagans that they can abandon their idolatry, immorality, and pagan cultures for a better way.
I barely even know what to say. Is that really the role model on which you want to base your interactions with the rest of the world? And what if we happen to not agree that your way is a better way? History would tell us that Christians can get quite grumpy, indeed can overreact quite violently under such circumstances. And even if these days you do it through force of law instead of force of arms, you're still using force. You're not persuading people. You're not showing them that your way is the better way. You're just making them conform. That's imperialism. Now, obviously, I can't speak for all atheists, but most of those I know would just love it if you lot would realize how misplaced your faith is, how unjustified your belief is, and become atheists just like us. However, if you do not, we're willing to live and let live, just as long as you are. But given what you're saying here today, kiddo, it sure sounds like you're not.
Both secular imperialism and religious imperialism are concepts of conquest for the good of those who are conquered. A conquest that's ultimately moral and beneficial.
So you're conquering us for our own good? You do realize that for their own good was one of the attempted justifications for slavery, right? And being made a Christian against my will? That is slavery. I realize it's probably not how you see this, not how you perceive what you're proposing, but it's bigoted, monstrous, arrogant, and unacceptable. Try to see it from the perspective of the people on the other side, the people you're trying to conquer. Try to imagine how you would feel if another religion were doing it to you. Would you really be saying, "Oh yeah, this is perfectly acceptable. They're only trying to do what's best for me. Bring it on"? Really?
Conversion, especially Christian conversion, is a form of conquest that affects the body, mind, spirit, and culture of a people. By teaching our youth that Victorian imperialism was bad or morally unacceptable, we've inadvertently taught them that religious imperialism is also bad and unacceptable.
Good. Good.
Colonial empires in the 19th century did an unparalleled amount of good for the world, and it's time that we revive their image.
You want us to return to 19th century thinking? Aren't we supposed to progress and grow as a people instead of regressing into ruthless, bigoted, tyrannical swine? I'd like to think so. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think.